Well, this is frustrating. I went to upload all my videos and realized it didn't disappear. I deleted my opening video by accident. That's frustrating. So you are getting an opening video. I know what I talked about roughly. You're getting an open. I'm just reading a text. You're getting an opening video from my bedroom. Now, not that kind of video. We're doing the opening for this week, which was what's the date today? 7th, 8th. So the first week of March. So we're doing the video for the first week of March. Lots to talk about this week. We have all the trainers. So we had an odd training day the other day. It was canceled short. It was short. It was cut short and canceled due to wonderful weather. So what happened was it was -6 and sunny when we got up. I was up early. I went and picked up somebody who wanted to come watch the horses train. Oddly enough, it was a gentleman, him and his father built Tamiko originally when it was called Paymont. So David Paymont wanted to come out and watch the horses. He doesn't have a car. He lives in Hamilton. He said he never has a car. It's odd. But he wanted to come out and watch the horses train. So I said, you know what? I'll get up early. I'll do something I don't generally do. I get up at 5:30. Drove to Hamilton, picked up David, brought him to the farm. We trained all the horses. I wanted to jog Can't Deny My Spirit before the training sets. I wanted to get a look at him. Very happy with the way he looked, by the way. And then we trained all the sets. We had 9 sets. 7, 8, and 9 were canceled. It just, what happened was the track was great, but underneath all that surface is ice still from last week when it was snow, then rain, then snow, then mud, then snow. It now has turned into a swamp when it got to +2, 3, and when the sun was beating down on it. Had the sun not been out, we would have been fine. But it was a beautiful day in Campbellville. So sets 7, 8, and 9 were canceled. Now the good news was set 7, 8, and 9 were kind of loaded with horses that had been doing it good for quite a while. So not a big deal. We got a number of sets in. I'll talk about some of the highlights of the sets. We also had the APG sale was yesterday. We picked up 4 horses, positions of 4 horses in Australia with our trainers from last year, Darren McCall and Robbie. Both of them got a horse each. Robbie and Carrie Ann Morris. And then a new trainer, Matt, who forever will be known as Kanga. Matt Rue is his name. I met Matt when I was in Australia last year. Good guy, got a good stable, does a pretty good job. So Daniel Cordino, who you'll hear about in other videos today, Daniel has become good friends with me. He was the person that chaperoned Kelly and I around when we were in Australia. Good guy, and he had messaged me and said, "Hey, Darren and Robbie were hoping, maybe you guys would like to do something again this year." And another kid, Matt Rue, who you met when you were over here, was also really interested in getting to know how we do things at the stable and how things operate. I would assume he would like to do something like his own over there. And so those were the 3 trainers. Anyway, we'll talk about those in a minute. We also had some decent luck at the track this week. Bottle of Red was fantastic. Caught a little flack on social media. Shocking. Somebody didn't like how I drove the horse. Somebody had said I 3-moved the filly and I was too hard on her. It wasn't one of our clients, but it doesn't really matter. It's nothing shocking. The one thing about social media is it's always in your face, right? So Bottle of Red race, fantastic this week. Got beat a nose. Both James and I thought I won the race going under the wire. I look over, I said, geez, I got a bigger filly. We were wheel to wheel. It felt to me like I had won, regardless of by how much I had won. And that wasn't the case. I didn't. So I could see James's trainer and caretaker going back to the winner's circle when I was coming back. James, at this point, he wasn't paying attention. He still thought I was going to win. But I saw Kevin and his crew waiting for me at the draw gate where we go off. Anyway, it was a tough loss, but at the same time, she gets to race in the maiden one more time. So that's great. She'll race this Thursday. A horse that was kind of overshadowed by her good trip was Beach Boutique. Now, Beach Boutique is 3 or 4 weeks behind Bottle of Red, right? Bottle of Red was ready to go and raced, and then we gave her a week and raced again. But all that schooling and training and qualifying that went up to that, she was just clearly 3-4 weeks ahead of Beach Boutique. And I didn't know what would happen. You know, she qualified pretty good. Mile and 2-2, it was a windy, horrible day, but what can she do off of that mile? You still don't have that speed built into your muscle and your lungs. And she just wasn't, I didn't know if she'd be ready to go 56. She wasn't. She's ready to go 55 in a piece. She raced huge. 55 last quarter, 27 and one last half in 55 and a bit. I would suggest that in the next couple of weeks, Beach Boutique will creep closer. I was really happy with the way she raced. And then White Tiger, who's been really white hot. Now, he hasn't won, but he was 2 seconds and a third. 2 seconds, 2/3. Anyway, he's been racing great his last 4 starts. Since we made the little shoeing adjustment on him, he's been real good. Even Maintenance Man raced pretty good the other day for being off a month. And you guys know I'm not going to pull any punches when it comes to Maintenance Man. He frustrates me because I know how good he could have been, and he just didn't have that killer instinct, right? And that really, looking at all the horses, that's the X factor, right? That's the separator of the good and bad horses. Or the horses that are really good and the horses that are just race horses are that desire, right? That thing, that unexplainable variable that goes into horse racing. And Maintenance Man is an okay horse, but I thought he could have been a real good horse. So he had struggled a little bit with lameness this winter, and I didn't know how he'd be the other night. We needed to get a race into him. I didn't want to race him back on a half. Took him over to Mohawk, and that's the soundest I've seen him since he was 3, early in his 3-year-old year. So Nelly and Harry have done a fantastic job with him. Now, having said that, I think it's going to be tough to find a class for Maintenance Man at Mohawk. I've been in talks with Angie Coleman and Rob. They're going to be back in Illinois on the 22nd. We have some horses that we were going to send out there. I need to find an easier class for Susie K. Now, Susie K might go out and do much better than I expect tomorrow also. It's not that I don't think she's a good horse. She uses every ounce of the ability God gave her. But is she a Mohawk horse? I don't know. That's going to be cut and dry tomorrow. It's going to be nip and tuck tomorrow. So I thought before Ohio Open, if we could find some easy racing for Susie K, that would be great. I believe Illinois might be the spot. Now, are we going to race her in the Hackett? Potentially. So these are things all rattling around in my head with all that empty space. Rattling around in my head all the time is where are we sending all the horses? I think it's a foregone conclusion. Maintenance Man should find his way to Illinois in the coming weeks. I think we'll race him once more Thursday night at Mohawk. That's only fair. I mean, the horse paced 54. He finished 5th and hadn't raced in almost a month. Charted line to charted line was almost 30 days, and there's not a lot of training for him in between. So I think he can only be better this Thursday. And another horse I was looking for a class for, 2 horses. Forged in Fire, unfortunately, he caused a refund the other night, and I had forgot, because it doesn't happen very often, that in the old days at Mohawk, if you caused a refund, you had to go somewhere else and race once or qualify your horse. This was a Mohawk track rule. And nobody said anything to me. I never thought about it again. 3 days later, we go to Ennerum for Monday. They take the entry. He comes out in the sheet, 9-hole. I get to the track, and the race office calls me and says, we made a mistake. He's not allowed to race. So I was a little upset because now we missed the box for Flamborough, where I could have raced him instead of Rose Run Versatile quite easily, where he probably would have won. And now we had to switch them around. Rose Run Versatile made a break because we probably should have had the hobbles on her, and she's not getting around a half-mile track. Great. Okay. It would have been fine if Rose Run Versatile raced Monday at Mohawk. Anyway, I had made a call to Tim Twaddle, and he got Forged in Fire in to go Wednesday at the Meadow. So we've been scrambling around getting his vaccinations done, because you have to be vaccinated to race there. Getting his health papers and Coggins up to date and ready to travel. He'll be leaving here first of the week to go to Tim Twaddle's barn to race on Wednesday. And then also, as I said, I'll play it alone. Another horse. What are we going to do with him? I couldn't say for certain. I told one of our clients that we didn't enter him last week because I couldn't say with all certainty, did he make a break and then break that hobble? Or did he break the hobble and make a break? It felt to me that he broke the hobble and then made the break, but I couldn't be certain. Not going to take him to Flamborough, London, and have a repeat performance of that. So what we did do was we changed his shoes, took him from a steel shoe to an aluminum alloy shoe, an aluminum shoe, and raced him schooled him at Mohawk. He was very, very good. 57 last half, 56 and a bit last quarter, and like 27 and a piece. He was real good as I've ever seen him. Got away third too, was very polite, did his work well. So another question, Tim, is there a class for him there? Maybe we'll race him in the stake race at the end of the month. If he's not good enough, certainly he's good enough for the non-winners of 2 there, or a condition claimer of some sort at the Meadows. He might be more he might benefit more from going to the Meadows also. So originally in my mind, I thought that we'd send Susie Kale, played alone, a maintenance man to Illinois. It's now looking like maintenance man for certain. We'll see. We'll let Susie K tell us tomorrow night where she's headed in the near future. We should be able to find a consistent class for this filly to do well in. Horses that try as hard as her, you should be able to find a class for her. So it's just a matter of looking around. Nancy Allison schooled great the other day. She's going to qualify on Thursday. Sebastian Yu, I told you guys I was not starting him until he was right. I thought he looked tremendous the other day schooling. So he'll race a week from Monday at Mohawk Raceway. Rooney Blue Chip made a break the other day in the qualifier. I told everybody we're going to do a little work on him. I'm going to make some shoeing adjustments, and we're going to go from there. That's exactly what we did. I'm really eager to get him in behind the gate again this Thursday morning coming. Zeb Sunshine made a break. Now, I told Kevin he was hitting the wheel when I went with him. A little out of gear, and he was crossfiring a little bit. So Kevin went and took all the cork off him, squared his toe up behind. So they literally dull the front of the toe behind, and we'll put a little wider bike on him this Thursday morning. I don't foresee any problems. Zeb Sunshine actually surprised me how professional he was. He made a little mistake, made a little accident, but that's not a big deal. I think that Zeb Sunshine is got a fairly decent future, hopefully, in front of him. Certainly looked. I don't want to downplay how I felt about Zeb Sunshine, but I can tell you I felt better about him coming off the track, even with the break, than I did going on. I didn't know, can he beat Brushcut and the other maiden colts that we have? Is he going to find a place? Do we got to race him in Flamborough, especially after making a break? What are we going to do with him? And he felt pretty good to me. I would like to go a mile 56 or 57 with him this Thursday morning, so we'll see how that plays out. Hometown Boys qualified in 2-2. He'll qualify again this week, last qualifier, and then off to the races. And then Friday morning, I had 3 horses over to train. It wasn't a nice day. It wasn't a nice track, but we had Johan, Beach Bum, BB, and Giddy Up Max over to train. Johan went a mile and 2-4. I followed Brushcut as far as I could. He ended up beating me by 3 or 4 lengths, but we come a half in 59 seconds, probably 29 and a piece on the end of it, which was good for Johan. Beach Bum BB also was very good. Trained her by herself, 2-3 and a bit. She was good. And then Giddy Up Max trained with Emerald Miss. A lot of you had asked, where's Emerald Miss? Kevin decided that, we schooled her and qualified her almost 5 weeks in a row. Then she won. Give her a week off, especially horses that come off wins and they're feeling great. They're more apt to eat real good. And Emerald Miss has always been a picky eater, and she's been eating great all week. So great job by Kevin to recognize that and give the horse a week off. She'll be back in to go this Thursday. Giddy Up Max trained well with her. So as I said before, we had some sets go. We went with 6 sets. By the time we got on the track with the 7th set, it was pretty obvious we couldn't train. I actually went the right way of the track with Kevin, and I went with Warwe Was Up and Frilly Fringes. Those were the last 2 horses to train on Saturday, if you call it training. They went the right way. Both were fine. But the first 6 sets looked pretty good. The 6th set was a little tacky, and GW Chrome looked great in that set. So excited to see this horse coming on, because this is a horse, again, when we look at a case-by-case basis, that we take all these horses and look at them under the microscope of an individual, not as a yearling, not as a 2-year-old, not as horse number 55, but as an individual. It became apparent that GW Chrome's knees were bothering him, and I thought to myself, sure, he's trotting good, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get him around a half effectively without trotting hobbles on. So we've been working the last month to maybe more than a month, the last little while, to get him comfortable in a set of hobbles. Changed all his shoeing around. Different types of hobbles we tried on him. Obviously, we had the belly bands on him first. Went back to the bike hobble, had them on a little snug, let them out. They're perfect now. Mario's done a good job with him the last 2 training trips going. I was very happy with GW Chrome. He looked very, very good in the 6th set. Now, first set of the day was one of our best. Miss Meringue was fantastic, but I couldn't hold off Gray as the new red. She was really, really good. Mama Knows Best was right there. Tipsy and Dixie was closing. It was a very good set, and we were really smoking on the end of it. Gray is the new red, coming off sickness, a missed drone session due to sickness. She was exceptionally good. I was really happy with her. Miss Meringue was very good, and then, as I said, Mama and Tipsy and Dixie were good also. Second set, Broadway Roll kind of manhandled them a little bit. She's getting sounder and more cocky and brave. She ended up being on the front for the full mile and a half. Blue Monk paced behind me, came first over. I let him go, removed to the front really quick, and continued to control the pace, and really just won easily. Blue Monk was pacing hard to me. We were really pacing on the end of it also, and I couldn't see the other horses were in behind me. The whole set did well, but those two horses were standouts in that set. And then a horse that's been knocking on the door for a very, very long time in all the different sets he was in was Adrenaline Rush. And Adrenaline Rush paced past me. Now, I had Tanzanite Tricks. We had made some significant shoeing changes and equipment changes on her this week. I went with her myself. Wednesday, I went with her. I thought she was good, but I wanted to make some changes. We made those changes, and I don't think she'd been on the front maybe in forever. And the other horse, we were going a mile and a half, and she had flip-flops on, again, starting to get a little slick on the track, and she was working hard, but Adrenaline Rush collared her and drove past her. So good job by Kevin, because this is a horse we've been watching closely. This is Miss Brampton Beast's brother, and I was hoping we would see that. And he looked great. He looked great training on Saturday. So did Tanzanite Tricks. Again, the other horses weren't behind us. Those two horses, to me, were standouts. I would go as far as to say the standout of the day was in the fourth set, and that was Holy Chick. Steve had been, playing bridesmaid with her. We've been really trotting on the end of the mile in the classes that Holy Chick was in, and she just couldn't catch up to us. Whether, she just couldn't get herself in position, or whether from the head of the lane to the wire we were just trotting too hard. She just has been present for 3 weeks. Well, I got everything my own way with Aglaire AM. I had moved her a couple of times. She worked hard, but I thought she was in a good position to finish them off. Little green on the front end, and I look over, and Holy Chick, boom, gone. She trotted right past me at the wire, and, we trotted into the turn together, but Holy Chick was flying on the end of it and looked very, very good. Steve did a great job with her, and she was an impressive-looking winner on Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning. Aglaire AM was good in there, too. Everybody really in that set was good, but again, those two, you see a trend, right? It was starting to get muddy, and I was up front or on the outside with all the horses. I wasn't sitting in behind anybody. And Holy Chick and Aglaire AM were very, very good. Then the fifth set, the track was starting to get a little muddy. As I said, GW Chrome was clearly a standout in the sixth. But the fifth set was the last set that the track was still decent. It was starting to pick up with some mud and some snow or some water. But at the same time was the last set of the day that was really actually good. And Walk on the Moon and Stacy Hanover were toe-to-toe. Mario put Walk on the Moon in the front, and it was starting to get muddy, and the mud was coming. I just moved Stacy early in a mile and a half, moved her and just sat on the outside the whole way, and she trotted hard right to the wire. Walk on the Moon and I were right together going onto the wire. So a little bit of a different scenario. You didn't get to hear about any of the horses. Looking back at all the horses that just jogged after were some of our most impressive horses. But at the same time, a day off for them is not the end of the world. They still did get to jog, and I'm certainly not concerned with losing that day of work for them. So clearly the standouts for me personally were Holy Chick. I'd have to give the top nod to for Saturday. Broadway Roll, Gray is a New Red would be her. Both Steve's horses were fantastic. Holy Chick and Gray is a New Red were right there, I would say, amongst the top. Miss Meringue was good. Broadway Roll was good. Adrenaline Rush was really good also. And then GW Chrome caught my eye just because he's now doing what we've asked him to do, and he's starting to get it, which is important because you're going to see, I think, in the coming months, now that the corks are about to come off, you're going to see how talented GW Chrome is. Very fast horse. We've spent a lot of time teaching him how to do it properly and helping him so that in the summer months, he can use those hobbles to his advantage. And I think what we have here is a horse that could be pretty decent colt in GW Chrome. Then, for the afternoon side of it, Daniel had called me. I talked to you about Daniel earlier. Daniel Cordina turned into be a very good friend of ours going into Australia and certainly coming out of Australia. Just, a good guy, and he wanted to know, were we going to get involved again with Robbie and Darren. And I said, it's a tough time of year. It's staking time. But at the same time, we did have a lot of luck so far with the two fillies, and it would be interesting to continue that relationship and build that bridge some more. So I left it open. I said, no guarantees, but if you guys can find some value, I think we can probably do some business. And they certainly did that. I talked to them before they went to the sale. I said, guys, I get no interest buying a $75,000 Captain Treacherous to race in Australia. If you can find me, some value, then that's something we can talk about. And it's very simple. If you think a horse is worth X and it goes for less, there's value there. Why do you like the horse? I know Darren had talked multiple times about this Always Be Mickey colt that he really, really liked, and he ended up getting him for 30% less than what he thought he would go for. So obviously, we were interested in that colt. We're going to end up probably taking a position in him. Then you come to the two War We Needy fillies. Both were very different. One kind of looked like War We Was Up, that big, strong, muscular frame. She didn't go for much money at all. Now the colt, Darren thought he'd go for 30. He went for 20. The first War We Needy filly was actually a little smaller, looked like Capistrano, right? Looked a little wrestler, and well put together, well bred. And actually, Matt Rue, Darren, and Robbie all liked this particular filly. Now Darren had already got his colt, so he's kind of off the table. We pick up this filly, and I know that Robbie had his eye on two horses later. One was a Captain Treacherous he was hoping to maybe get at. He didn't. And the other one was this other War We Needy filly. So Matt Rue ended up with the first War We Needy filly. Now, they don't have names. They have lots. And I think it was 563. Kelly will have a little something for you tomorrow in that regard. And then the before all this took place, Daniel called me and said, listen, my cousin or relative, I talked about this in the video for the sales, he had a Sebastian K filly in. Now, from what I could see in the video, looked like she towed out a little bit, like that. Much like Eternity Road does, or many other trotters. Not really a big concern for us if they tow out a little bit. She was well-bred. She was a little bit smaller. I'd like to say, gee, she looked like Won My Heart Hanover. She didn't. She was a little brighter, not a little more compact and lean and longer, but not as tall. So still put together very well. And I know Daniel's cousin, I think David, was hoping to get 15, but historically speaking, that wasn't going to happen. Not in Australia. So I told Daniel, if it comes to fruition, if we could get this filly really cheap, I think that a lot of our clients would be interested. I'm a trotting guy, right? I always lean to trotters. Obviously, these are horses on the other side of the world. It'd be nice to get to see them next year. Now that we have 6 potentially racing in Australia, it'd be really cool maybe to go over there next year in March or February. Might be a stable trip. We'll look into that. But the Sebastian K filly went for $5,000. So I'm sure Daniel's cousin was upset, but at the same time, I was happy. Daniel said, well, we'll just buy her together. And I said, I can't do that. I mean, this is the stable, and our clients are, how would I feel if I was a stable client and I look next year and here's a horse racing owned by Daniel Cordina and Anthony McDonald? It's not very fair. So we're going to offer that filly up also, whatever position Daniel, maybe David wants to stay in for a piece also. I'll leave that up to Daniel. We'll have that info for you tomorrow. And then the last War We Needy filly, who actually, I love this filly. Of all the horses that we looked at and we liked, of all the videos that Daniel showed me, and I'm sorry we didn't send them all to you, just with the timing of the time change, I couldn't get these videos to you before we were going to look at the horses, almost in real time, bidding on them. They're 16 hours ahead there. So they're trying to talk to me at 1 o'clock in the morning as they're looking at horses. And then the next morning for us, they were going to start bidding on them. So the timing was tough. But of all the videos I saw, I liked the big War We Needy filly. I thought she was very correct. I thought she was built great. I loved everything about her. She went for $9,000, which made no sense to me. And again, for us Canadians, finally we found an exchange rate that we're ahead of now. So they're about 90 cents on the dollar, so we get 10 cents on them. And then for you American clients, you're way ahead. It's got to be 40 cents or something. So we bought 4 horses. We bought 2 War We Needy fillies. One was very compact like Capistrano. The other one was very big like War We Was Up. We both have the same frames in the barn right now here in Canada. An Always Be Mickey colt that Darren was very, very enamored with from the start. This was the colt he wanted. He got him for 30% less than he thought he would. And then a bit of a flyer on the Sebastian K filly. A bit of a downer for the breeder, only getting $5,000, but a good thing for us. So we'll have all those horses up for you Monday morning also. So that's all the video. That's the opening video. That's everything I want to talk about. The race horses, how the baby's trained, and the APG sale. I had this done once already and then erased it like an idiot. So here I am in my bedroom on Sunday night, 10 o'clock, making you a video. So My apologies for losing the first one, but I've made the second one. So that's it for Sunday night. That's it for the first week of March. We are looking to have a big week this week. Obviously, we have a ton of horses. I think I did a quick count in my head. We have 15 horses. I know that Harry, Kevin, Jason, and Mario don't know this cumulatively, but we have 15 horses training in the race bike Tuesday at Mohawk. We have a number of horses schooling. We have a number of horses qualifying. It's that time. They're all getting ready to go. All the 3-year-olds are getting ready to start back up. It's pretty exciting. We've had a pretty decent winter. I think we could do much better next year, but at the same time, I think we did much better than the year before. So some growth in that regard, in that quarter, so to speak, that we've struggled in. So White Tiger tomorrow. Really excited about that. Susie K, I'm excited to see how she's going to do, but obviously really excited to see how White Tiger is going to fare. Tuesday, we get Stonebridge Simba racing in the final of that series. Drew a kind of a crappy post with the 8-hole in Miami Valley, but I expect a much more aggressive drive, and who knows, I think he's as good or better than any of the horses in that series, and he has a series right after that. Then Wednesday, Forged and Fires Racing, Aaron Merriman's going to drive him for us in the non-winners of 2. So, it's bedtime for me. You guys have a great Monday, have a great week. Hope you had a great week last week. I will talk to you soon.